Thank you. All right. Throw 'em a fish. Hello there. I'm just going to run through quickly a trot through 5 of the things that successful business owners do. I'm not saying they're the only 5 things. I'm not saying that this is the wisdom of Solomon and disregard everybody else. I'm just saying these are 5 things. Well, I'll come to terms with the technology. I'm not going to take hours explaining why you should listen to me. All I would say is that I've never been a bank manager, I've never been a civil servant, and I think I'm safe in saying, because there aren't any here, that I've never been an accountant. I've been running businesses for years, and frankly, I wish I knew at the start what I know now. But the reason for this slide is that Nige has been evidently a lot more successful than I have. And the picture of Sugar and Branson at the bottom is because Nigel was at Business 2012 in the O2 earlier this year, and he was Richard Branson's warm-up act. So, and his kind of chief claim to fame is that since 2004, he's started 8 businesses that each turn over more than £1 million a year. So he knows a little bit about getting businesses started, even in the current environment, and unusually for business gurus who basically I have an innate distrust of, he still makes more money doing the business than talking about it. So the first thing that you should do in your business, you should look at doing, you should spend a lot of time doing, is getting and keeping customers. It's safe to say that that's the most important thing in your business and possibly the most important thing in your life. And I say that, I know, I fully understand that you've got family and kids and all those things are important, but probably maintaining the life you live with those people is dependent on the income you make from your business. So if your business goes things up, then it's not going to do an awful lot of good for those people that you love. So it is arguable that getting and keeping customers is the most important thing in your life, but it certainly is the most important thing in your business. And as so many of us, just become focused on the day-to-day operational matters. We're first in, last out. We probably empty the bins and clean the toilets during the course of the day as well. Well, I commonly ask business owners to keep a diary of what they do during the week. And Pareto's law applies almost universally. They spend 80% of their time doing stuff that anybody could do, and perhaps, usually less, perhaps 20% of the stuff that make the business work, that only they can do. A great example is bookkeeping. You can get bookkeeping done for £10 an hour, £12 an hour, even if it's £15 an hour. Well, you may well say that's a big expense. But frankly, if you're in business for yourself and your time isn't worth more than £15 an hour, give up, go and park trolleys at Tesco's. You have to be able to earn much more than £15 an hour to make staying in business worthwhile. It's easy, isn't it? If literally your time is worth £10 or £12 an hour, I would say give up now. Typically, this 20% of time that we should spend on getting and keeping customers comes down to 90 minutes a day. Nigel's well known for his 90 minutes. But that's what you're talking about, spending an hour and a half a day on the thing that's most important in your life, and certainly in your business. If you don't do that, then you're being a fool to yourself, aren't you? I'll go back to it. The most important thing in your business is getting and keeping customers, because without that you don't have a business. Spend some time doing it each and every day. And how much time did you spend today getting and keeping customers? And I suspect the answer for most of us on that would be not enough. Excuse me. Okay, thank goodness. I thought it was me. Sell what your customers are buying. and that may seem perverse, but time and time again, people aren't buying what we're selling. How many of us bought the Sky TV box because we thought the remote control was really cool, and frankly our lives weren't complete without having a bank of 3 remote controls sitting on the table in front of us while we were watching television? No, you buy a Sky box because you want to watch Sky One, Sky Sports, porn, whatever it is. And actually the box is probably the least attractive thing in your living room, but it's there to serve a purpose. In the weather we've had this week, I had some roof damage at home. I called in Butch the builder, and I called him not because he's a great builder. Actually, to be honest, until he arrived, I didn't even know if he did roofs. But I called him because I know that I can trust him, because I know he'll turn up. He appears to be on the same wavelength as me, so he comes along and says, well, you can repair it. I can get you Spanish slates. They'll be £2.50, but you've got Welsh up there. They're a bit harder to get hold of. They'll be more expensive. They'll be a £5. I'll see if I can find you some second-hand ones. So he trotted off to find some nice second-hand Welsh slates to match the ones that I've got. I know that I can leave the door open. He'll come back and finish the job. And frankly, because I don't want to go up on a roof and slide all over slates and probably with my weight go through them, I'm not going to inspect his work. So, but I know that he's going to do a good job. So what I bought on that occasion was peace of mind, simplicity. To be honest, I still don't even know how much it's going to cost. I trust him that he's not going to skin me and that he's going to do a good job. And that's what I bought on that occasion, is not a roofing job. I bought peace of mind. There's that classic thing, isn't there, that people go into B&Q and they buy an electric drill because they want a hole in the wall, and they're not really interested in buying an electric drill. And lots of us continue to sell what it is we sell rather than what customers might want to buy. On the other hand, I've seen at the weekend, I parked next to a Renault car that was badged Bose. And Bose, you may know, make sort of premium quality speakers. So that car was badged a Renault something or other, Bose, presumably so that someone could get in there and listen to a concerto or an opera and get the full sound effect while they're driving up the M4. But you also see lots of these little runarounds where the various car companies are advertising them as having iPod capability or compatibility. Well, you know, whether it's a Renault Bose or a Nissan something Micro, what's it? Why would anyone buy a bloody car because you can plug in a cassette recorder or its equivalent? Well, obviously, there's a constituency of people who want to get into the car and not have their beats disturbed because they have to retune the radio or whatever it is. But a car, it's easy to say you buy a car to get from A to B. What does it matter what the sound system's like? You want to. It's a manufacturer selling what people want to buy, and you know, they'd probably, forgive me, lots of the girls in here will say, well, I like a car because I like the colour. You know, the blokes, we all want to know how many overhead cams it's got and what the performance data is, and you know, has it got a limited slip diff? Well, fine, you know, we can buy that. But lots of other people want it because it's got nice place for a fluffy dice. My missus doesn't look at a car unless it's got a mirror in the sun visor so she can do her makeup while she's stuck on the M4. It's selling what people are going to buy. And time and again, we don't quite get that right. And people aren't always buying the specific products that we're selling. You've got to get the right customers. There's something that really irritates me is when people say best sort of advertising or best sort of customer accumulation is by referrals. That's fine if you've got the right customers in the first place. If you're a builder and you're getting people referred to you because to fit bolts on bathroom doors, that's not a great referral, is it? And we want the right customers. And if you don't go out and get the right customers, you'll get the ones that are left over. Back when I was looking after the garden machinery for Tony Blackburn, who I have to say, as far as garden machinery is concerned, is thick as shit. But Chatham House rules apply, and you're not allowed to say that outside of here. But back in the day, I used to have, the workshop was full up every year because summer would come and people want their mower fixed. Sadly, it took me much longer than I'm willing to admit to realise that I had 3/4 or half of my workshop was full of these bloody fly mows. Now, the problem with fly mows, as far as I was concerned, was that people bought them from B&Q, not from me. There was a limit to how much I could charge to get them fixed. And often, by the time we'd done the work to get the quote, or even repairing them, we'd ring people up and say, oh, I bought another one. So I wasted a huge amount of time. I had lots of customers, they weren't the right customers. My right customers owned premium petrol machines that were typically 300-400 quid, so they were quite happy to pay a little bit more to get them fixed. I could charge the full rate for the job. They never went out and bought another one while it was in for repair, or if they did, they bought it from me because that's what we sold. Once I got rid of those wretched Flymo customers, apologies to everyone here who owns a Flymo, but once I got rid of those very nice Flymo customers, my workshop profits soared, frankly, and I had a lot more happy customers because my staff liked it. Everything worked better because we had the right customers. We had customers who got what it is that I did. Just as I get Butch the Builder, those people got what it is that I do. They were willing to pay. They were less price conscious, as I'm not price conscious about the work that Butch does. I'd rather he was on my roof and it was costing me 100 quid more than some clown that I'm not sure whether he's a good idea or not. So customers who get what we do are always worth more to us than the other sort. Yes. Okay. I'm just stopping there because I've sensed I was going to go on for a bit too long. A premium product. As a rule of thumb, about 15 to 20% of your customers will buy a premium product. And that premium product should be more profitable for you than a standard product. And if you don't have one, then you're probably missing an opportunity. The Scarlets do it. You can, I don't know how much a ticket is here, but you can probably pay 10 quid, or you can pay for the hospitality package where you get a glass of warm champagne or a curled up sandwich at half time. I'm sure it's a lot better than that, but you will pay far more than that than it costs them. You have executive boxes, they're a premium product. Dry cleaners do it. You can go in, you can have your suit or whatever it is dry clean, or you can have the gold service, which apparently involves using an iron or something. I don't know, but you pay more for it. Airlines do it. You have business or first class. Theatres, again, much the same as here. Tesco's have the finest range, don't they? So you can go and buy Tesco value, whatever it is, or you can spend a lot more money for what they call the finest range, which interestingly, in one or two examples I've seen, there is less nutritional value in the finest product than there is in the value, but that's just a bit of a quirk and me being anti-Tesco's. There's the great example of the Bon Jovi concert where tickets for, I don't know, 25 quid, but if you wanted to get beyond the barriers at the front, that cost you 100 quid. And all the authorities at Wembley did was put up a few of those anti-crush barriers, and it cost you more to get into the front. But there was another bit in front of that, cost you, I don't know, about 1,000 quid, where you got probably a glass of champagne, you got to meet the band afterwards. It cost practically nothing, but there was a premium product. Not everyone was going to spend £1,000 to see Bon Jovi. Not everyone was going to spend 100 quid to see Bon Jovi, but enough people were willing to do it for the organisers to make some serious money out of it. I doubt there is any one of us who is in business who couldn't offer a premium product. It might be a speed of response. It might be, I mean, I bought some software off the net this week. It was $47. So going through the old checkout process, and their premium product was, wait, if you think this is going to be too complicated, brackets because you're a thicko, we'll install it for you for $97. Now, I'm pretty confident that for them to install it was going to take like 5 or 10 minutes. But instead of collecting $47 from me, they were going to collect $150. The premium products exist all over the place, and they do represent great profit opportunities for us and a way of making a customer happy. Because if you think about this software, I could spend whatever it is on it, and if I can't install it myself, if it just sits there on my computer as these things do, and I'm a very unhappy person, aren't I? I think, oh well, that was a bit of a waste of money. I won't go back to them for anything else. But now it's my fault. So and instead of having it sit on my computer, I can just spend the $100 and have it put on there for me. So I'm actually a very happy customer. These premium products aren't things that people are going to hate buying. The people that paid £1,000 to get to the front of the Bon Jovi concert will have loved it because they're big Bon Jovi fans, and they presumably got £1,000 worth out of seeing them and having sweat drip on them, rather than being somewhere at the back of Wembley Stadium. And if you feel sceptical, how many of us here came in the cheapest car we could have driven? How many of us have got the cheapest clothes on? How many of us ate the cheapest food before we left home? Frankly, if the Scarlets offered a cup of tea that didn't taste of a mix between chocolate and coffee, I'd be willing to pay for it. There is always room for a premium product. Time deadlines. Steve and I were kind of talking about something approaching this earlier. It's easy to say, I'm going to be a millionaire. And I suspect most of us have said something alluding to that, probably in the last 6 months, probably some of us this morning. But that's meaningless. What makes it meaningful is I'm going to be a millionaire this time next year. And what that means is I need to do, I think it's £84,000 this month or next month. Now, and you can substitute, I'm going to be a billionaire, I'm going to earn £100 a week, whatever it is. The numbers aren't important. But if you're going to earn £1 million this year, and it's going to be £84,000 in May or June, that brings it into focus. What have you got to do in order to turn over £84,000 next month? I suspect you're probably going to have to do a little bit more than you are now, just to guess. But if you know that's what you've got to do, then you might spend the money on the advertising. You might stir yourself to getting things done. And we're not very good at keeping those time deadlines for ourselves. The chances are, if a customer asked you to do something, you'd stay up all night to get it done, and then you'd walk to Newcastle to deliver it because you've made that commitment, you promised it. How often do we say, I'm going to do that, maybe silently say, I'm going to do that next week. Next week comes and goes, and it doesn't happen. And all of a sudden it's 6 months and you haven't done that thing. Well, I promise you, Branson, Sugar, when they say they're going to do something this week, they do it this week. And if that means staying up all night Sunday to get the job finished and walking to Newcastle to deliver it, they'll do it because they've made a promise to themselves. And this, setting yourself a time deadline for every job you're going to do, everything, because we can all do things on Sunday Isle. We can all do things in the far distant future, but making a commitment to do it by a certain amount of time and keeping that is probably a far bigger deal than any of us realise until we start thinking about it. Because look, how many of you have got a to-do list? Have you got a to-do list that's got more than 5 things on it? Okay. How many of the things have been on that to-do list for, let's say, 3 months? Yeah. Would any customer wait 3 months for something? you're a customer of other people. Would you wait 3 months for something? Well, you know, why are you willing to wait 3 months to do something yourself for this thing that's the most important thing probably in your business? Because I bet all of those things are to do with keeping and getting customers. So if you've got a to-do list, I would say get on and do it, and give yourself some deadlines, stick to them. Yeah, or as we'd like to say, JFDI. So, thank you. If you want, I can give you 5 quick bonus things to go on top.
Yes.
Okay, right. Okay, number 1, it's all your fault. Everything that happens in your business is your fault. It's no good blaming it on the economy, on the government, on the local authority, on rates, on customers, on the competition. It's your fault. Deal with it. You should have as many pillars or routes to market as possible. If you are a business relying on one source for getting customers, in time you will fail. It's happened to HMV, Woolworths, businesses. I can't think of any more, but you need different routes to your customers because things change, and people are buying in different ways. And HMV Records, you know, that's a great example. They just have not made the transition to selling online, so they're in trouble. The record market is all now via Amazon, isn't it? So pillars. Outsource, whether it's bookkeepers, virtual assistants. You can't do everything yourself. Get someone else to do it. Clarkson, Jeremy Clarkson, great example. You may think he's a twat, you may think he's a really amusing bloke. And when he was out there saying, drag people off the streets and shoot them in front of their parents, the people who liked Clarkson went out and bought more of his videos, bought more of his books, signed up to watch Top Gear. The people that hated him weren't customers anyway. He lost nothing by alienating them. So the people that get you, pull them towards you. Don't worry about trying to please everyone. There's if your definition of your market sector is male or female lives in the UK, then you've missed it completely. 1, 4, 15, 60, 20. In any marketplace, 1%, or any group of people, 1% of people have absolutely cracked it. 4% are well on their way there. 15% are getting by. 60% are probably struggling, and 20% are going broke. What that means is that at any one time, it's likely that 80% of people in that sector, your market, whatever it is, are wrong. Don't do the same things as everyone else. Thank you very much indeed.